Some of the large megatrends going on in the world right now, I see like 3 of them that is super important and will also have a long duration for the time to come. And the first one is, of course, sustainability. That is going to influence both the world of interiors but also consumer behavior. And then the second part is colors, which is also the one that's going to influence interiors and how we live in the future. And then the third one is health. It's of course been on the agenda for the past year and a half, but it's also going to be very much important when we look forward. Well, sustainability is talked about now a trend, but actually I don't think we should actually in the future talk of it as a trend, because it's more of a transition, it's more of a new way of living. And how we see it now is through composition, like what are things made of, like where's the materials come from, what is the composition of those materials, and how does that maybe affect how we can see a new way of producing and how we can see a new way of making things. But I also see that it begins to have a more aesthetical point of view, so that we see that actually sustainability is affecting how we are putting things together and what the visual expression of things are. Well, for the Scandinavian market, I see colors in the future going into the direction of some that I call earthy pastels. So they are a little bit linked to also the aesthetic side of sustainability. So these colors are soft and dusted colors of pastel variations, mainly like mint that's a little bit dusty, or what we also call like a light rose, a tender rose, or like a tomato cream. So in kind of the light reddish area. And then of course also some balanced grays, some grays that has a little bit of warmth is some of the colors that I see is very important in the directions going forward. Health is a mega trend right now because of course it's been very much in focus in the past year and a half with the COVID-19 pandemic. And people believe that, that we have, been sent home and we've had the time to do hiking and we've had the time to calm down and maybe take things in a little bit of a slower pace. But it's also actually been a very stressful experience and period for people that has affected people's health. So we are looking into that health is going to be a major topic and a major focus when we go forward, because it has been a rough patch for a lot of people out there. So we will focus, on better nutrition, better fitness, better mindset, better sleep, better in an overall kind of look for the health industry and also for us and individuals. So we see these megatrends transforming or influencing our interiors and our home in various ways. For example, a focus in the future will definitely be about, of course, green living, hence going into the sustainability direction with what we are putting into our homes in a more sustainable way. But it will also be like our outdoor environments and our garden as a place that we're really going to focus when we go looking into the future. It's going to be important for us to have a good base that also goes into the exterior of our home. And then a second thing is color. Color is also, a driver for either you can be, calmed down, or you can get a sense of a good feeling of a room if it's within a colorful space. It can energize you, or it can calm you down, or it can give you balance. So the work with color can also influence how we're seeing our space and our interiors as a good way of being. And then comes into materials as well. So wood has been a major and big trend when it comes to interiors, and I see that would actually also continue, because wood is a natural material. It is durable, but it's also a material that has, natural patterns and has a good feel also, which is also where we're seeing that this is something that we long for. No more of these only white spaces or really clean and bright surfaces. We're looking for something that's a little bit more raw and natural. Stone is part of that, part of those more naturalistic materials. So this is something that we want to bring in close. with us in our interiors, those naturalistic materials. So stone is part of that. And I really see that we also, imitating the patterns of nature, imitating stone patterns, or looking into how that can be as a reference or a direct material within interiors and how we live and how we design our home. We have had a huge disruption in how we live. So how we live in the future is of course very much impacted by the pandemic that we've seen. So these impacts is gonna look into how we are both interior designing our home, like what spaces do we actually need in our home, but also where we are when we're outside our home. So our home has, through the pandemic, been kind of our headquarter. It's been where everything is going on, from the fitness and working to schooling, everything had to happen within the frame of the home. So now that we're a little bit at the end maybe of a pandemic and looking a little bit forward, some of these things will stay in tune and some of these behaviors will stick. Where I'm thinking about that is particularly digitalization, those ways of maybe working still a little bit from home, how entertainment has gone through digitalization process and become also a part of the space that we live in within our home. So we may increase, entertainment surroundings in our home. We may allocate some space for an actual office, kind of a build-up within our home. But we also see that some of the changes will be different depending on what market you're on. So the Scandinavian market will maybe not likely be as changed as we see some more international markets being, because they have had a higher and a bigger consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic. But in the Scandinavian market, I can see that we will definitely see our home as something of a headquarter, but we will also be going out again. And that is also an important direction for what we're then doing within our home. For the future of the kitchen design, we see that it can go in different ways. It depends a little bit about what kind of type you are, but I definitely can confirm that we see, the handcrafted kitchen of where you really go back and go deep into the making of food and create gatherings again. People who long for that will really go into that and become almost like some semi-professionals in their kitchen, really longing for tools that almost makes them a head chef. But there will also be the other way around, the people for whom the kitchen has to be as convenient as possible, and maybe only be kind of a design object in their home, but it doesn't necessarily put that much in use because everything has to be just going very quickly, and we are outgoing again and prioritizes that instead. Maybe traveling again or going out to a different kind of hospitality or restaurants visit because they have missed that part. So it's a little bit different depending on where you are with the target groups and who will go in what direction. But I think an overall thing with the trends or with health is something that we will focus on in the kitchen, maintaining healthy surfaces and maintaining elements that can actually help us continue a healthy lifestyle. We're not going to let that go just yet because things are still a little bit uncertain out there.